You are being recorded. This will be recorded and posted to our website for others to view that were unable to make this meeting today. A couple points on using Zoom. To ask a question, there is a chat box feature. Please use that if you can, or a raise hand feature. For those on the phone, dial *9, and that should raise your hand. Some meeting guidelines. We cannot give legal advice. The program is it's very clear in our statute and policies that we don't give legal advice. We also cannot change statute. So if you have a request to change a statute, that is not something that we can do. I'll ask my co-staff folks if there is something that comes up in a chat or a hand is raised, please let me know. Just jump in and stop me because I'm not seeing the chat box for some reason. There it is, stand by. Okay. So we're here to talk about a fee increase proposal, and the fees are set in set in statute and haven't been changed in statute, but we are allowed to change them if we need to because of the way the program works. Want to talk a little bit about why we need to raise fees. We'll talk about the process for raising fees. We'll take a look at the financials to provide you some context of where we are financially. We'll talk about the recommended fee and the rule change that we are going to make, that we're going to propose as a program. And then we'll talk about the rulemaking process a little bit, and then we'll have some discussion. So why do we need to raise fees? The Mobile Home Park Oversight Program is a cash-funded program. What that means is we do not get any money from the state to run this program. All our fees, or the majority of our fees, are registration fees that the mobile home park owners pay. The current fee is $24 per owner unit in a park, and that is where we get the majority of our revenue. We have, in the past few years, had a reserve, a cash reserve that has not required us to raise fees, but we can only carry so much cash reserve over every year, and we have fully expended the excess, what I like to call the excess reserve. And so in order to keep the program going and keep it funded, we're going to have to do a fee increase this year. We must remain solvent in order to provide all the statutory services that are expected of us. It's not a matter of just not doing the things that we're required to do in statute. So it is important that we raise fees. So this slide actually has the statutory requirement for fees. It's in the Colorado Revised Statute 3812-1106-8. It says the divisions shall establish by rule a fee that each landlord shall pay to the division as an annual registration fee for each mobile home independently owned on rented land within the landlord's mobile home park. And then there's some other language, but the other significant piece of this part of the statute is the division shall review the annual registration fee, and if necessary, adjust the annual registration fee through rulemaking to ensure it continues to reasonably relate to the cost of administering the program. Where are we on fee increase? As you know, we're on a state budget cycle, which means our new budgets start on July 1st and run through June 30th. We start that budgeting process in November and December. Excuse me. And as we were looking at the budget, and as we knew we were going to look at spending all our reserves, we actually built into our budget the fee increase process, and we briefed the Joint Budget Committee in December and January. They're the ones that set the state budget. And then we also briefed the governor's office because they want to be informed of any potential fee increases that could be passed on to residents or any fee increases at all. So we did that. Both looked very hard at our justification and our rationale and our financial reports, and they approved or authorized us to propose a $10 unit fee increase for every homeowner unit in the park. We're proposing that this fee increase goes into effect on October 30th of 2025. This slide is just a snapshot of the financials. It has a lot of information on it. It is 5 years worth of data and projections. The first column, the FY 22-23, is a previous fiscal year. So is 23 and 24. We are closing out the 24 and 25 fiscal year right now. You can see that our beginning fund balance that's is kind of what we start the year with. That has been going down significantly. And then in the 25 and 26 fiscal year, it's only going to start with about $204,000. And then in 26 and 27, which is our next fiscal year, we pretty much eat up all that reserve. In fact, in 26 and 27, it shows that we're probably going to be in a deficit position. If you look under the big heading that says cash flow summary, you see revenue total. You can see the revenue has been fairly steady for FY 22-23. That's $1.194 million. Then it moves to $1,223,000 in 23-24. And this year it looks like we're going to end at about $1,292,000. This fee increase is actually projected in the budget, and this is the line where it shows. We expect the $10 fee increase to increase our fees from the 1.29 number over here to $1,789,000 in 25 and 26. As you can see, that next line down where it says business registrations gives that same picture. We're expecting to close this year out with about $1,250,000. Next year, with the fee increase, it's going to be $1,675,000. If you look at expenses, I collapsed that somewhat. But with a program like this, I can tell you that our primary expenses are personnel costs, and legal fees, and IT expenses. So that's in order for us to keep doing business and meeting all our statutory requirements. There's a question in the chat about how many are employed. Lori, I think you put in the oversight department, but I think you meant the mobile home park oversight program. Christina, correct me if I'm wrong. That number is is it 11.5 or
Yeah, that's correct.
so 11 and a half people, Lori? So that helps give you some rationale. The next slide is more of a table format with the same numbers put in. This is for those that want to see it in a little bigger font. You can see that we are concerned about our ending fund balance. In this column, this row here, being negative in 86 and 87. That our net cash assets have changed significantly, and our fund balance has changed from year to year. This next slide is the cash flow summary of that same data with the revenue total, the business registration line showing the numbers with the fee increase as we're projecting for 25 and 26, and the expense total of 1.9 million and a loss, net cash flow loss of $154,000 in that year. These numbers are a month or so old, but we've got a fairly good handle on that this is close to what we're going to end the year at. If we do future meetings, we will provide updated financials. Even though our fiscal year ends on June 30th, we won't see the final numbers until August or September sometime on where we actually end up the year. You can see we carry, I mentioned earlier that excess reserve. We had excess reserve that we were able to use to cover some of the staffing expenses. And then you can see that there is no excess reserve. And then we're depending on the uncommitted reserve. We're allowed to carry 15% over from year to year without asking for permission to carry more over. And Carol, you had a question in the chat about the number of staff and the breakdown of that. I don't have that in this, and I can provide that in the next meeting. I can tell you that it's broken into a couple of categories. Of course, there's a little bit of my time, all of Christina's time as the program manager. The registrations team is, I believe, 2 or 3 people. The complaints team is also 4 or 5 people, and then park sales is a vacant position right now on our current staffing plan, but is being picked up by the registration team. We have 1 inspector that is currently on staff. The other inspector position is currently vacant, and we're assessing whether or not we need to refill that second inspector position. Hope that helps. Here's the actual wording for the rule in the red line format. If you can see, the current rule 2.7 deals with our fee. We quote the statute here, and it is the $24 that must be paid every year. And these fees haven't been increased since 2021 when they were set in statute at $24. So we have been able to run the program without any fee increases. This is the proposed rule for 2.7, and we're striking out for 2021 calendar year and each calendar year thereafter, an annual registration fee of $24, and changing it to read, on the effective date of the rule amendment, the annual registration fee of $34 must be paid by the mobile home park for each mobile home independently owned. Okay. How do we do a rulemaking for fee increase? We are limiting this rulemaking process just to the fee. There may be folks online or that want to see future changes in the rules to the program. We're happy to take them and hold them. But this fee increase, this rulemaking will only be limited to the fee increase that we need to get in place as quickly as we can. We'll hold, this meeting is certainly the first of those meetings. The way that works is we take stakeholder input from meetings like this, and then we will recommend a rule change, which you've seen already. That's the proposed working copy of the rule change. And we will recommend that to the director of the Division of Housing. It's a pretty formal rulemaking process in the state of Colorado. We have to post the rule and a public hearing, information in the Colorado Register as required by state statute. Then we'll hold a public hearing for the director of the Division of Housing will approve the final rule. So there will be multiple opportunities to provide that. So Susan, you have a comment on why not charge higher registration fees for law-breaking landlords. That is not authorized in our statute to set up separate fees for different parks. That is something that we would have to get legal advice on. And since it's a registration fee, it is pretty much, it's not, we'll consider it. We'll talk to our attorneys about it, but I think the cleanest way to go is the flat $10 unit fee increase. Michael, you asked about taking comments on changes unrelated to fees. When would those be considered? It's something that we want to take a look at and maybe group several of those things together. Now is a perfect time to do that, to start sending in your thoughts on other rule changes. And then we will have we'll have some internal meetings on those, and then we'll propose another rulemaking after this one. I don't have a hard date to give you, Michael. What's the timeline look for this process? Public meetings, of course, today and others to be determined if needed. We will be posting this to the website. We will be and we'll be providing information in the newsletter that goes out to everybody with updates there too. And then we'll publish this in the Colorado Register tentatively on August 10th of 2025. We'll have the rulemaking hearing probably August 30th of 25, and then the effective date for the rule will be October 30th. Really good follow-up question, Michael, on will we do that this fiscal year? Send us what changes you'd like to be considered, and we'll take a look at that. And if we can get to them, we can. I just can't promise a date. So this is the last slide in my slide deck, and then we can have some discussion. The fee increase is necessary for MPOP to remain solvent. A $10 per unit fee increase is being proposed effective October 30th of 2025, and there will be a public hearing. This is the information on where to send written comments. If you send it to the mpop@state.co.us website and include MPOP rulemaking in the subject line, then that will help us sort that out. But please put MPOP rulemaking in the subject line. Again, my information, I'm Sam Albrecht, the Director of the Office of Regulatory Oversight. If you have any questions on language access and accommodations, talk to Michelle Goulet, our Community Outreach Liaison. And of course, Christina Fostelowski gets all the really hard questions because she's the program manager. Samantha, why don't you unmute yourself?
Are you taking questions and input now, or do you want me to wait a
I
little
will take
longer?
questions and input now. I and I was yeah. So let's see what I can do for you.
Okay. I actually just wanted to take and just, I guess, more or less just put some things on your guys' mind if you would think about some things while you're going through this process. I absolutely understand a program needing to update and, increase fees, just like cost of living increases, things like that. That is completely understandable. A couple of the things I want to address though is that you guys have left out the part that we as residents pay half of this cost. So I don't know the exact wording of how that is, but I want to address the fact that this program is being run and financed not just by these corporate owners, but by us as residents too. I get we both utilize this program, but from the inception of this program, I feel like we have been charged this fee every single year, and I feel like every single owner does that. So I would like to maybe suggest that in this process that there should be a cap on what they can charge us as residents. Right now it is half of that fee, but I feel like, $10 is more than enough because the reality is if we had owners that were behaving, we wouldn't have to utilize this program and make it cost so much. So just throwing that idea out, if we can have some kind of a cap that's a lot more affordable for residents, because everybody gets charged that. And I heard you say something about legal stuff that, Susan brought up that, can you charge bad, actors a higher fee? Maybe implement a sliding fee scale because I want to acknowledge that we have different types of ownership. We have mom and pop owners, we have corporate owners, but when you have a $7 billion valuated corporation like mine and they're charging us half of that fee, I think that's a little ridiculous and they can afford to pay that. So just kind of offering out some of that. And the other thing is I'm kind of curious that you have such a low projection for your violation fees, it looked like on your scale for this coming year. And I just want to say that I feel like if you guys would hold a little more accountability and actually enact some of these fees, for one, it's going to fund your program better, but we'd have some bad actors that wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Because as of today, my corporation is still taking massive advantage of our residents. So just wanting to acknowledge that. So again, I'm not looking for like a, back at that, but just things to please consider.
Samantha, thank you for that comment. Those comments, right? There's several things there I want to address. One is you're right. In statute, the landlord may charge up to 50% of the fee to the owner resident, right? And that's in there. We do not know exactly how many parks do that. And so again, the pass through on this increase would be an additional $5 a year to the homeowners if the landlord is currently charging the residents. This may also push some landlords into finally saying, well, yeah, I'm going to now start charging that. We looked at that really hard before we tried to do a fee increase, and we looked at other money options to help keep the fee increase down as low as possible. But we just could not come up. It was a very tight budget year for the state. The fines, we and the is something that we can't count on. We have pushed very hard this year to close a lot of complaints, and we're trying to settle as much as we can as easily as we can so we don't have to hire more staff in order to work the program. So it's something that we are aware of and that is part of our revenue line, but it doesn't fund the program. But thank you for those comments. Would anybody else like to make any public comment? I will also say, and I meant to put this in the slide, we hope when we do this $10 fee increase now, we hope that will last 2 years before we have to reconsider doing any other fee increases. Like I said, we're watching those numbers very carefully. There's a slight chance that we'll have to do another fee increase next year. I don't think it would be $10. I think it would be significantly less than that. But we'll have to take a look and see our year-end financials work out. And I will add that to the future slides, that that we don't want to get to the point where we have to do annual fee increases. But right now we want to run it as lean as we can. But we have certain requirements with reserves that we can and cannot exceed. So I don't see any other hands. I don't see any other chats. Oh, wait a minute. There is another one. Oh, Cassie just put in the fee increase language. Thank you, Cassie. I'm going to stop screen sharing. If everybody has got a copy of that screen, that would be great. I think let's put, did somebody drop the email into the chat for everybody?
Not yet, but I can.
Thank you,
Oh,
Cassie.
Christina just did. Never mind.
Thank you, Christina. All right. I don't like to hide behind the PowerPoint. Anything else? Anybody? Oh, Samantha, I see your hand up. Your background's a little light, so yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Actually, I do have a question because you had made the comment that you guys don't currently know what corporate or what owners are charging those fees. Is there a way to start tracking that? Because my community, you have at least 500, 600, 700 of us. And then if there's 31 communities, like how can we maybe get that data information so that gives you that information? Because I again just stress we're being taken advantage of already, and that $12 a month already makes some seniors, for example, not be able to afford their medicine that month. So it does affect us more than I think people realize. So can we get that data started to be tracked?
Yes, we'll take a look at that and see if that might be something that we can add. I'm sure it's been addressed before, and I apologize. I haven't been in all the discussions on what we put in the annual survey, but that might be something that we can look at there. We might get pushback. We might get it as an optional question. There might be a couple ways to get that data.
I will collect it from residents because I get a nice little letter every year with my increase that tells me I'm being charged that. So just saying.
And they do have to give notice, I believe, of that pass through. Christina, if you want to jump in on any of that, you can, but you don't have to.
That information is not something that under statute or program rules, landlords have to provide to the division with their registration. But as Sam mentioned, that's something we could look into.
Yeah.
Or you could talk to your legislators about.
Yep, absolutely. Good point, Christina.
That's the same thing with a cap on the amount that a landlord could pass through or lowering that cap. I believe there may have been some discussions at the state legislature about changes to that. Currently, it's capped at the landlord passing on half, up to half, which is currently $12 a year, so about $1 a month.
Right. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate it. I don't see any other questions. Or maybe there are. Let me scroll down. Okay, Lori, good point from you. You haven't been charging, but may have to consider it now. And that falls in alignment with everything that we expected. And we'll see how everything goes. Thank you, everybody, for this. I think we can stop the recording and leave the meeting. If anybody thinks of anything after this with respect to this rule change, please let us know by email. If we are keeping a bucket of future rulemaking considerations, and so if you have things that you want to see changed in rule, please send those to us. If you want to change statute, please contact your legislator.